Peace, everyone. Welcome to the channel where we discuss astrology, metaphysics, and history in order to help you on your path and journey to enlightenment. And today's discussion, we will be talking about the six truths that are being suppressed when it comes to astrology and were our ancestors evil for using this science. So today we're going to jump right into this topic and let's get started. Okay, now let's see here. Okay, now before we get started, okay, I want to definitely touch on this message from the ancestors. Okay, so the Egyptians named the stars with the names from their own history. Okay, and when you knew the history of those names, you knew the history of the founding of Egypt. The old scribes had written that if some nation got strong enough to wipe away Egypt's history on earth, they would not be able to reach the history that Egypt had written on the stars. And this is from the scribes of the pharaohs. Now you might be thinking, why Egypt? What's so special about them? Well, Egypt was a high powered, high cultured society that was one of the most advanced societies that this planet has known. And they made a lot of astrological, um, uh, scientific, mathematical, and you name it, the list goes on. They made a lot of those discoveries, and they also made breakthroughs with those and advancements and aiding humanity to advancement and reaching a golden dawn or golden age, as they say. So many of the scholars actually reference Egypt as being one of the most prominent societies or nations to rise on this earth. So this is why we reference Egypt. Okay, so again, our ancestors wrote their history on the stars. Now, astrology has influenced not only science, philosophy, but also religion. Okay, and all major sciences can be found stemming back to astrology, along with religion and philosophy. Okay, so every religion under the sun has a foundation in astrology. Uh, every science that stems from the human mind can be traced back to astrology and also philosophy. And speaking of philosophy, we have several of the uh, philosophers from the Albion society or nation um, that actually reference Kemet as being one of that high powered societies that we mentioned earlier. So, moving forward to ask the question, what is astrology? Astrology is the study of the movements and relative positions of celestial bodies that influence human affairs and the natural world. So, in other words, for example, the sun influences life on Earth. The sun gives us light, it gives us our food, allows us to be able to um, complete our daily activities. Okay, it gives us our vitality. Okay, and it also rules over our purpose. And then we have the moon. Okay, the reflector of the sun. Okay, it actually controls the tides and the waves on this earth. It controls the waters and help things to grow. So this is what we're looking at when we look at the examples, the sun and the moon, how they influence the natural phenomena on earth. So astrology consists of the planets, and when we're talking about ancient astrology, we're looking at the seven innermost planets, beginning with the luminaries, the sun and the moon, the sun, the light giver, the moon, the light reflector. And the faster moving planets, we have Mercury, Mars, and Venus. And then the slower moving planets, we have Jupiter and Saturn. So when we talk about the signs, we're talking about the 12 signs, Aries through Pisces. So that's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And the 12 houses that they rule in the sky, they're called mansions. And the elements, we have fire, earth, water, and air. And of course, the aspects, conjunctions, trines, squares, and opposition. And this is all the fundamentals of astrology, the basics of astrology to get it started off. And of course, it was more advanced after that. Now, why is astrology important? Okay, astrology is important. Okay, number one, the stars were the paper that the ancients wrote on. Okay, and the ancestors recorded their history on the stars and adopted carving on stones and papyrus, writing on papyrus later on. They were able to trace the objects that they seen uh, and visualize on the stars, and actually be able to um, look at what was happening above and how it affects below. Number two, the stars compile books. So the ancestors use the stars as references of what will take place on Earth. Okay, what when the sun actually was in certain signs, they were able to pinpoint the different phenomena that was happening, and able to uh, trace that and record that and see how it would affect the future. And then number three, we look at the sky and how the sky contains the greatest library that exists. Okay, again, this is a lot of materials. Um, it tells the story of what is, what is to come, and what was. So this is the greatest library to exist, and it actually reveals the great truth that everything is cyclical and there's nothing new under the sun. Okay, and then also astrology guides the journey of man. So when the sun is in the 12 signs, it gives us a blueprint for that individual of what they can accomplish and aspire to become. And then we look at how this is based on the planets interacting with each other in the signs, and they create certain patterns that influence man in their journey on this earth. And then when we look at number five, astrology is the school of man because it teaches us about our behavioral patterns, our nature, and our tendencies. Okay, and then number six, astrology is the library of man. Okay, again, this is one of the greatest libraries known to man. It teaches us how us as the microcosm is affected and impacted by the macrocosm, and how we mirror what's above. So we contain a lot of information just like the cosmos. All right. Peace and love, Wanda Dawson. All right. And then when we look at the importance of astrology, um, this is where we see astrology does not imply helplessness in the face of fate. Okay, so you're not just, things aren't just happening to you and you don't adopt this victim mindset. You can't control anything. There's certain things that you can control, and then when we look at two-thirds of man's quote unquote misfortunes, it's the result of man's ignorance. Okay, when you ignore the laws of nature, then you get the results of that, being ignorant. And we also look at when you ignore the laws of nature, which controls your destiny and your existence, that's when problems occur. So, in short, the heavenly bodies urge, okay, predispose, and influence to a great extent, but they impel and not compel. So, they don't control you and make you do anything. I know a lot of people blame Mercury for their problems, or Saturn for their problems, but they impel you to do certain things. So um, they don't control your everything, but every movement. To a large extent, they actually influence you. So the question is, can the stars be changed or corrupted? Okay, and the answer to that is no. The goal is for the elite to corrupt your perception of the stars. Okay, and they are the only objects in this universe which have remained unpolluted by the finger of man. Okay, so this is actually very, very prominent. This is a huge statement because um, this goes back to the quote that the ancestors actually made, or the scribes made, about our history being written on the stars, and they will never be able to erase the history that we wrote on the stars, which is also why the elite deem this science as evil, which is also why they remain in control, and this is also why they stay in power. Okay, which is also why they practice and live by this science in secret, and they tell you not to practice it and stay away from it, which is also why they're in tune with nature and you're not. Okay, when you don't practice or live by this science, which is also why um, certain people or individuals who aren't in harmony with the system that was created by the elite, and which is also why when you ignore the laws of nature ignore you. So it's very important that we know the power of astrology. And I hope after hearing this information that you won't allow the elite to continue to keep you in a box. And my goal for you is to explore the science of astrology. And I definitely want to know your opinion if you think the ancestors were evil for even using this ancient science, and were they uh, to the point where we should erase this science and not even use it going forward and pass it to further generations. So I definitely would like to see you all dive deeper into this science, and I definitely want to know your opinions on what you think about the use of astrology and should we continue to use it. So I hope this short video is able to help you gain more clarity about astrology and how they're keeping this science suppressed. And I'd love to know your opinions in the comments. So uh, you all remember to continue to stay vigilant and study, and you all enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, I'm sorry, I got a question. Peace and love, JL. Taylor says, peace and love. A Bible verse says, in my father's house there are many mansions. Wonder whatever. Yeah, so when you talk about in my father's house there was many mansions, this is what they're talking about, the lunar mansions in the sky. There are many mansions, and there's different systems that were used in uh, astrology, as far as the solar calendar, the lunar calendar, and then they have their mansions. So the solar mansions and lunar mansions, and these mansions are houses. Okay, these houses contain the different categories of life. And so when there's a quote from the Holy Quran that says, "Whatever you do, everything you intend to do, start or begin with the circle." So when you draw that circle and then you divide it by 12, you're talking about the 12 categories of life. And so when the elite draw that circle and they create a circle, meaning a club, they keep you outside of the circle. Okay. And when you stay outside of the circle, you're not in tune with harmony. Okay. Because they have created a system where they penetrate every category in that circle. Okay, so every category of life, from the first house being the area of self, the second house of wealth, third house of communication, fourth house of home, and fifth house is about your willpower. Sixth house is about your service and health. Seventh house is your relationships. The eighth house is all about your sex life and your desires. Your ninth house is about your learning and journeys and trips. 10th house is about your career and authority. 11th house is about your friends and networking and aspirations, and the 12th house is about your undoing and your self development. Okay, and that's your subconscious mind. And so when they're able to keep you on the outside of the circle and penetrate the inside of the circle for each and every one of us, each generation, each age, they try to gain more control over your categories of life. So those mansions are very important, um, and it's very important to dive deeper into that. Uh, Wanda Dawson said, continue to use astrology is the best. Yes, I agree. And I definitely want to know what everyone else think on the matter, as far as should we continue to use it? Was it ancestors evil for using this science? Now, of course, this is beginning of a series of videos I want to break down over this next month to give you more information about astrology, because I know we still have a lot of new people in this. So we're definitely going to talk about uh, this discussion more, and you're going to be seeing a lot more videos concerning astrology and how you can best to use this practice in your everyday life. All right. B Taylor says, thank you. I agree, and continue to use astrology for the good. That's right. Okay. So we got two so far. So if there's no, if are there any more questions before we get off the live? Any more questions? Let's see. All right, if there's no more questions, you all enjoy the rest of your day and your week. And remember, this month you should be planning, getting ready for the new year to come. Where we're going to spring forth headfirst into Aries. Okay, um, and this again, I know we got many people at different degrees of astrology, so you all get ready and get prepared to make some changes and jump ahead. We got JM says astrology essential to daily life. Agreed. Tammy says Shalom. Definitely would like more information about this. Oh yeah, Tammy, we're definitely gonna be getting deeper into this. I know we got different people, so we're gonna walk you through each step of the way. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your week. Peace and much love. Hotep.